In the last video, we took a look at the Ghetto Boys' inception, the creation of the name, and the challenges they had to face while making a name for themselves. Now let's get on into part 2 as we continue to see them fight for their rightful place in hip-hop. Now join me as we continue the story of the original Ghetto Boys. When we last left off, we was talking about Rapper Lot's ill-fated distribution deal with A&M. The business between Rap-A-Lot and A&M was going sour real quick because A&M had a stranglehold on their deal and they only wanted to promote clean rap music. The A&R from A&M came down to Houston and Rap-A-Lot held a showcase at the Rhinestone Wrangler because they wanted to pick up the whole roster. But the A&R wasn't feeling their music. It's not that Rap-A-Lot wasn't making any good music. It was just apparent that A&M didn't know anything about rap music. But Raheem was able to reap the rewards of the deal because on the upside, he was going on big promotional tours, he was featured on the movie soundtrack, and he was being displayed on posters and billboards nationwide. And it was around this time he was being compared to LL Cool J. But on the downside, he was being promoted to a pop and R&B crowd who didn't know anything about rap music. And it was this type of promoting that soured the Rap-A-Lot and A&M deal. And it all came to a head because one night during the A&M showcase, Raheem was in the same lineup with R&B singers and he was slated to go behind Vesta Williams, Jeffrey Osborne, and Janet Jackson. So when Raheem get up to perform, the crowd went silent. They wasn't into it. So to get the crowd riled up, he started cussing because he was trying to get a reaction out of him. After he finished his performance, Jay pulled him to the side backstage and asked him why was he cussing, and Raheem explained his actions. And they started to get into an argument. While they was arguing, another guy approached them, someone who they didn't know. And this guy and Jay had some heated words, and Jay went after the guy and the scuffle had broke out. After the scuffle, this guy told Jay, "I'll see you back in Houston." So after the altercation, Jay and Raheem got in the back of a Lincoln Town car, still talking about what transpired earlier when they saw another black car pull up. He slowly let the window down, then they saw the barrel of a gun. It was the guy Jay had the confrontation with earlier that night. But before he could let out any shots, A&M security intervened and called the police. By the time the cops arrived, the black car had pulled off. The word had got back to A&M about the incident, and this was a part of the game that A&M wasn't familiar with. This incident, along with them already not being familiar with rap music, was more than enough of a reason to not want to deal with Rap-A-Lot. So A&M separated themselves from Rap-A-Lot, and just like that, the distribution deal was over. Around this time, the Ghetto Boys, Jukebox, Johnny C, and Ready Red was starting production on their sophomore album titled Just Made a Jump in the Height, who everyone in the inner circle praised as their best work at the time. For one, they had creative freedom. Jukebox and Johnny C were able to showcase their lyrical skills without any limitations, and Ready Red evolved as a producer. And Raheem stated that album could have set Houston and Rap-A-Lot apart from many coasts, and it made the other artists on the roster want to step their game up. And they did a song on there called Grip It. More on that song later. The Ghetto Boys went on tour to promote the album, and the buzz had gotten stronger and stronger. And when it was time for the album to be released, Jay stalled it. Jay called a meeting with all the artists and told them that they were going in a new direction. It wasn't going to be the positive rap anymore. Now they were going underground. And the reason for this decision was because, do y'all remember the internet rumor floating around years ago about the secret meeting that changed hip-hop? Well, DJ Ready Red verified that meeting really happened because he and Jay attended that meeting. He heard firsthand about how they wanted the rappers to glorify violence, sex, and drug use. So when Jay made this announcement, it took everybody by surprise. And along with his announcement, he decided the shelf just made a jump in the hype and put it on hold indefinitely. This sudden change upset everybody because they knew Jukebox and Johnny C poured their heart, soul, time, and energy into this record only for it to be shelved. So it felt like it was all for nothing. Now around this time, Bushwick Bill was still a dancer for the group. But Bill was wilding out and making some irrational decisions that was starting to wear on the group. So they had a group meeting to decide the fate of Bill's position in the group, and they all voted him out by unanimous decision. And Jay placed Bill with another group called the Two Bad Brothers. Now around this time, Jay had signed a new artist named Willie D. He was originally signed as a solo artist, and he immediately went to work on his debut album titled Controversy, and he had featured Jukebox and Johnny C on a song called Do It Like a G.O. After the album was finished, it had to be put on hold temporarily because the group took another turn. Johnny C was unhappy with the new direction the group was going. He was still disgruntled about the previous album being shelved, and plus he still wanted to do clean rap. He didn't see himself as a gangster rapper. So as a result of this, his heart wasn't into it anymore, and he ended up leaving the group. So now it was back to just Jukebox and Ready Red. The group was back to square one, and Jay was scrambling, trying to find new members. This is when Jay asked Willie D to join the group as a favor. And after Willie D joined, K9 resurfaced from a hiatus, and he wanted to get back into the group. Around this time, another upcoming MC named Brad Jordan, who at the time went by the name Action, was trying to give a rapper light. He slid his demo tape to a guy named Shakim, who was working at Rapper Lot at the time. And the song on the demo was called Scarface. Now, Brad had explained to Shakim that he had tried to give a rapper out once before, but he didn't hear nothing back from him. And Shakim thought the demo was dope. So he made the initiative to put the demo tape directly in Jay's hand. Jay liked what he heard, which left him at a crossroads. Thinking about the current situation with the group, Jay had to make a decision which one he wanted to add to the group. Would it be Action or would it be K9? So Jay decided to hold a rap battle between the two to see who was the better MC, and the winner would fill the final spot in the group. They had the rap battle at DJ Ready Red's apartment, and after minutes, which seemed like an hour of going back and forth, Action won the battle and he earned his spot in the Ghetto Boys. So now the new lineup was Jukebox, Action, Willie D, and Ready Red. But the group would soon come across another hurdle. The group was out at Jay's ranch getting ready to record a new album when Box got the news that management wanted Willie D to write his rhymes for him. And by Box being a real MC, he didn't feel comfortable having someone else writing his lyrics for him. So because of that, he regretfully walked away from the group. This affected both Jay and Box because Box really didn't want to leave, and Jay didn't want Box to leave because Jay was there from the beginning. And so now Jay was back to square one, trying to find another member, and this is when Bushwick Bill resurfaced. Now, there's two stories to how Bill got into the group. Willie D stated in the interview, "I heard Bill rapping Public Enemy's Rap Without a Pause, and a light bulb came on, and I thought if someone would hear him rapping some gangster shit, they'll fall out. So I said, let's put him in the group, and I wrote a couple of songs for him, and that's how he became a Ghetto Boy." But Bill stated in the Northern War interview, "It was John Vito who heard me rapping Rubber Without a Pause, and he told Jay to put him on the mic and see if he could just rap something. And that's how I got in the group. Either which way it goes, Bill was now an official member of the Ghetto Boys. So now the new lineup was Action, Willie D, Bushwick Bill, and DJ Ready Red. Now remember earlier when I said Jukebox and Johnny C made a song called Grip It? Well, the transition from the first lineup to the new lineup was the reason they called the new album Grip It on Another Level. It was like a passing of the torch from one lineup to the next. And the verses that Jukebox and Johnny C did on Do It Like a G.O. for Willie D's album was removed and replaced with Bushwick Bill and Scarface. Even with the new lineup, Ready Red kept elevating his production, giving Rap-A-Lot and the Ghetto Boys a signature sound. And by this time, the Ghetto Boys' name was respelled from Ghetto to Geto, and Action would soon change his name to Scarface. And DJ Ready Red assisted with the productions on Mr. Scarface's Back and We Can't Be Stopped. But now, Ready Red got disgruntled with the label. He started asking questions about the money, and tension grew between Ready Red and the management. And it eventually came to an ugly head. And as a result, an altercation broke out. And after the altercation, Ready Red left the group. Now, before the altercation happened, they had a photo shoot for the Scarface album cover, Mr. Scarface's Back, which is one of the most talked about album covers in rap history. Red was on the cover, but after he left, he was blacked out. It wasn't until recently the original picture of the album cover started to resurface with Ready Red on there, and it was revealed that there was a rare first press release with the original album cover only on vinyl. When Ready Red left, it left a void in the group, and Scarface said in his book that losing Ready Red was a blow to the group. Now the lineup consisted of Scarface, Bushwick Bill, and Willie D, and it went on to achieve major success. Now, as for the previous members, Raheem was still signed directly to A&M. He was signed to a 10-year deal, and he had dropped another album on Rap-A-Lot called The Invincible. Prince Johnny C stuck around and did some producing, and he had dropped his solo album on Rap-A-Lot called It's Been a Smooth Ride Coming. Jukebox had a situation, and he had to go away for a while. And K9 Sir Rap-A-Lot also had a situation, and he had to go away for a while. And DJ Ready Red went back to the East Coast. Sadly, this year we lost DJ Ready Red and Bushwick Bill. And may their souls rest in peace. Ghetto Boys, 2000 and forever.